Hey everyone, I think it's about time I show off another video of what I got going on in the shop. Obviously I'm making a bit of a mess here, got things going on. Before we go to the VK and the wide body, I guess we'll talk first about what we got going on for the 89. We're replacing the intercooler because I believe the other one, which was more or less a generic eBay intercooler, was causing some overheating problems. Pretty much replaced everything and troubleshooting, and now it's just time to get a new intercooler and get the airflow directed better to it. So that's a Treadstone intercooler. It's a pretty good brand. Saw a lot of positive reviews about it. So just got to finish putting things back together and get my fog lights reattached. So moving along, here is the IMSA or IMSA, whatever you want to call it, wide body 300ZX. Working on it obviously for the VK here. Engine bay is mostly gutted out. Obviously got things to do here still. Remove a lot of unnecessary wiring, hoses, whatever. Got some rust over there. It just looks to be your surface rust. Otherwise, just getting things organized. Those aren't the real BBS wheels. Those are just shop wheels I use just to prevent any damage. The real ones were roughly $7,000, so I don't want to risk damaging them or anything like that. So we'll just check out the interior for a second. Interior's been gutted. Getting ready for, I guess, dropping the column there to fit to a Nissan Versa column for the electric steering that it has. Someone else did a write-up on that, so that'd be cool to no longer run hydraulics on this car, just for electric. Those are the original seats they put back in the day. They still make them. They're called Kirky seats. I forget the model. In that bag are just the black vinyl cushions for them. And then it's a 20-gallon fuel cell that I'll put in there with an external MagnaFlow pump and whatnot. So other than cleaning things up in here, got to get a roll cage. I have it. It's kind of one of those, you got to weld it and get it put in there and whatnot. And then I'm going to chop the roof off and put a slick top on from an earlier Z. Like an 85 is where I pulled it from. Pretty straightforward process. Some people's already done it. It gets rid of damages like that I don't have to worry about. So anyhow, that's the body, and I got some rust on it. Like down there's a pretty good hole at the patch up and work on it. Got some fiberglass right there to do, but overall it's a pretty good clean body. So here are the old parts from the VK. The crank and cams, and if this crank was bad, the motor was at a junkyard pulled, and that journal right there, you can tell it's spun. The bearings were shot. So here are the old bearings right here, chewed up. Pistons and rods all there, old parts. Some of them are reusable. I'll put back in. Just got to clean up things still. And I got the JWT cams where they're in a box. I'll pull them out later. Anyhow, here's the VK56. Took it to my machinist and had him go through it. Got CP pistons, Brian Crowder, H-beam rods, brand new crank from Nissan, which is a factory forged crank. Got ARP everywhere. Got JWT springs in there, and it's looking pretty clean. And the reason why I wanted to run the 2004 VK, this is what this is. I didn't want to run with any VVT. And I know that the 2004 to 2006 motors didn't have VVT, and that's kind of what I wanted. I'm going to be running Megasport 3, the gold box. And while it could support it, it's just not worth it for the small gains. Twin turbo setup, running high boost, I'll be all right. So let's go ahead and turn it over. Check at the bottom. I think the chain will drop a little bit, but let me get the pin loose on the engine stand here. There it goes. All right, so chain drops. So anyway, like I said, Brian Crowder rods, ARP mains, even the side bolts are ARP. Yep, so those are coated CP pistons. Yeah, it's just brand new stuff. You can tell the crank's brand new. I like how they knife the crank from factory. That's pretty cool. Some people ask me, because I have the Brian Crowder rods, do they have fitment problems with the block? And they do. You have to shave off or grind a little way the insides of the block. I think this is a good example down here. You can see where that bolt is so close to hitting that side, so we have to shave off a little bit. Obviously I didn't do it, my machinist did. But anyways, so that's that. Getting ready for the reassembly here. I got getting things cleaned up. Spent some time yesterday cleaning up the covers and whatnot. These covers they use a lot of RTV from the factory, so just a lot of cleaning. And if you've ever taken apart a VK, they are caked in stuff. It's a truck motor. They sweat a little bit. So I spent some time with the brake parts cleaner and a wire brush and started cleaning everything. So on the back sides, usually they have that gold cover or coating that's baked in there. Kind of see a left of it, but I do my best to clean it up. Looks pretty good. And then if you can look, I got the channels cleaned up from RTV all the way down. So I'm going to take this to my machine shop and have him dunk it in the parts cleaner to get rid of anything that might be left over, like any RTV shavings or whatnot. So same with the oil pan, same with all this stuff here. So anyway, that's that. And let me show you what I got going on over here and show you all the other parts. Speaking of timing covers, got some seats there. Really cool paint job here that I discovered. This is that duplicolor metal cast, and this stuff is really cool. Stuff's still drying, it's still a bit tacky, but it has like a 3D tone to it. So depending on where you stand, you get a different tone of color. It's pretty cool. So obviously you can see a little bit of specks. That's just burrs from the aluminum, but I don't know, kind of like it. I think I'll do the rest of the timing covers with that and even the valve covers. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. My only fear is it's scratching and getting dirty, that's all. So here's the transmission I'll be running. It's brand new. Box has been beat up because I've opened it so many times. This is a twin turbo 98 spec Z32 transmission of a 300ZX. Brand new. These are rated for quite a bit of power. And not to start a controversy or get into an argument, but the 350Z transmission is great, but it's a 6-speed. The 5th gear of this transmission is the same as a 6th gear in the 350Z. So why would I row an extra gear while I'm trying to hold on to boost as much as I possibly can? And also, there's a lot of reports that the 350Z transmission going to garbage after high horsepower. So the Z32 transmission, I run it in my Bill 89, 700 horsepower, holds up just fine. So I like these transmissions. They shift great. They hold power great. They're designed for turbos, so I like them. So we're just rock that transmission. And speaking of transmissions, yes, I have another one over here. That's the adapter plate from Collins. Here's a South Bend clutch kit that I ordered. I had it custom made for the application, only in the sense that it would hold close to 1,000 horsepower before I have to go to a twin disc setup, which I'm not opposed to doing, but we'll just see how this turns out. ARP flywheel bolts. There's the clutch. I'm taking that to go get balanced, so you don't need the clutch disc. And this is the Z Fever lower height oil pan for the bottom. I need to run that because the truck oil pan's a bit deep. So at any rate, that's really everything I got going on as far as the update, and just slowly making progress. So hopefully in the next week or two I'll have this motor completely assembled and ready for installing, but obviously it'll go back in the back burner. Oh, before I forget, here's the PD90 intake, valve covers and whatnot. This guy is the 104 millimeter LS throttle body. So pretty stoked to run this bad boy. It's a tall intake, as the VK56 is tall, so it'll poke out of the hood a little bit. I thought about that, and to rectify that, I bought a carbon fiber hood for the Z. And what I'll do is I'll modify it with fiberglass and make it taller where it needs to be. It's definitely be a cowled hood, but that's what I need to do to get things to fit. So at any rate, that's the latest. Any questions, comments, or whatever, just let me know.